Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Today we've got a very unusual Johnny Lightning, the Johnny Lightning Nucleon. This is perhaps the most bizarre Johnny Lightning vehicle that the Nucleon. It seemed like a space station on wheels. Its symmetrical shape, which means two circles joined by a bar, give it a graceful but out-of-this-world appearance. Bottom line is, folks, this car is weird. But you know what? It's a die-cast car, and it's deserving of being preserved, so that's what we're going to do today. We probably going to change the paint up a little bit, but we're going to have a lot of fun doing this car. So you Johnny Lightning folks, or folks that just love die-cast, stick around. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this car. It's unusual to say. Here we've got the car. We've gone ahead and drilled it apart. Now this, I guess, nuclear-powered engine in the back is really weird looking. Here's your body. The posts are super, super short, so you're going to have to be real careful when you go to drill these out because there's not a lot of meat there, and if you drill out the post, you got to be super careful. This little bubble here goes over the instrument panel in the windshield. The interior, it's got the seat built in. There you go, Nucleon. The wheels are in pretty good shape, and the base is in good shape. We're just going to have to clean it up a little bit. Now this engine here, I had to file down the edges because it just didn't seem to fit right in the car. Now I don't know if this was something that Johnny Lightning did that just seemed to be a little bit messed up. So I went ahead and filed it down so it would fit in between the rails on the inside of the base, which it fits in there really nice now. Modification, unfortunately, but I wanted to get it to fit in there nice, and when we put the car back together, you'll see how nice it fits. All right, let's move on here. Here we've got the body. We're going to drop that in the embalming fluid. Doesn't take much to cover this body up because the body is so short. Let's let that set for a while. We got it out of the embalming fluid. Now we're going to go ahead and polish it up with some Flitz Polish. The body itself is in pretty good shape. It's just a little bit dull, so I'm thinking all we have to really do here is go ahead and buff it out, and it should look pretty nice. So let's go ahead and do that. Here I've got my battery-powered Dremel. Now I used to have a Dremel with just plugged into the wall, and that worked really good, but it was like 30 some odd years old and it was incredibly loud. This is a little bit nicer, and my mother-in-law got this for me for Christmas, so I'm very thankful for that. The Dremel is battery powered. Now you can get one of these Dremels. I have an Amazon store where the products that I use to do my restorations and my customizing, I've got a lot of that stuff listed on this Amazon storefront. Check out the link in the comments section and you'll see a lot of things that I use to restore my cars and to customize my cars. This will help you having to search for them when you go out to do your own designing and customizing and restorations. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer them for you. I may not answer every single comment that I get, but I do read them all, I promise. These polishing bonnets that I use, those are also listed in the Amazon store. They last a couple of cars at least. Now some of them fall apart a lot faster than others, but these ones here seem to last a pretty good time, so it's definitely worth the money on that. Try and get all the little nooks and crannies that you can to polish it all up. There you go, that's looking pretty good. It's going to be really shiny for sure. Now all we got to do now is wipe it down and rub it out, and then we'll scrub it down with some Zep degreaser, and that'll take care of any wax buildup or any polish buildup on the car. I use a soft bristle toothbrush when I use the Zep cleaner just to make sure that I don't scratch the body as I'm going to clean it up. And you also want to get in all those little nooks and crannies and stuff like that too that may have a little bit of wax in there. Okay, let's move on.
Someone is being exhumed.
Okay, now we got the body. We're going to paint it. And I'm going to use some ice blue. The other blue was cool, but I wanted to change it up a little bit because I've got so many cars that are darker shades of blue and stuff like that. So I wanted to go ahead and use some ice blue. Plus, I was already painting a different car some ice blue. In another video, you'll see the whipped creamer that's coming up if that doesn't get released first. But I had a little bit of paint left over. I said, you know what? I'm not going to throw it out. I'm going to use it. So that's what I'm doing here. But this light blue is really pretty. That's Spectre Flame paint from the Redline shop. Now, if you need to get some Spectre Flame paints, go to www.redlineshop.com and you can get your Spectre Flame paints. Great stuff. We'll let that sit for a few minutes. Now we're going to come back in and put a little bit heavier saturation coats on there. As you're putting your tack coats on, you want to put some light mist coats on there and let it gum up a little bit or let it dry just a little bit. That'll give the rest of your paint that you're spraying a little bit more of a tooth to bite on or something to hold on to. Now, with the Spectre Flame paints, and again, a lot of you guys have heard this stuff, but hey, there may be somebody new watching these videos. The more layers of paint that you spray on, the darker the color is going to get. Each significant layer covers the other, and it's like looking through two layers of the same color, and that's why it gets darker. So that's something you need to be aware of once you get to the color you want.
Waiting for the paint to dry.
While we're letting that paint sit overnight, we're going to go ahead and work on the base here. We're putting it in a mixture of lime away and water, a 50-50 mixture, and we're going to let that set for a bit. A lot of times in these videos you don't get to see what the lime away and water mixture does. So what I did here is I went ahead and filmed it. In this section here, we're just going to go ahead and speed up. This is 3 times the speed. But you can see that this lime away and water mixture is definitely attacking the tarnish and getting rid of that stuff. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. This is really cool to watch. It's kind of like watching the grass grow or watching the cars rust. But again, it's something that you don't see all the time unless you do this yourself. And that's why I had to speed it up, because it kind of is boring, but when it's sped up, it looks cool. All right. Well, that's been approximately 3.5 to 4 minutes. Sped up, of course. So let's go ahead and get the wire brush and scrub this down. Now we're back to normal speed. Take your brass brush, and I prefer to use a brass brush here because the steel ones tend to scratch a little bit harder. The brass one is a little bit more forgiving. Now, another subscriber of mine mentioned to me one time, be careful when you're getting the brass brush, because if you happen to get it from a store like Harbor Freight or someplace like that, you may be getting an aftermarket brush where it's only coated in brass. It may be a steel brush. So the only way that you can check that is to take a magnet. Now, if your brush is sticking to the magnet, obviously it's not brass. So something to be aware of, that I guess steel brush is a little bit more cheaper to make. So just be aware of that if you're looking for a brass brush and you get the product that you're paying for. There's your tip today from your Uncle Paulie. All right, well, the lime away and water mixture does not affect the plastic, so that's pretty good. Let's go rinse it off with water, and that should be all done. Here we've got all the parts, and there's not many to this car. It's very simplistic. You got this body that we painted ice blue. That looks really nice. The base turned out good. Now the wheels, we got to touch up with a Molotow chrome pen just a little bit, but that looks nice. The windshield, we polished that up with some Meguiar's plastic polish. Now we've got the engine here. I had to file down the edges to get it to sit in there nice, but we're also going to touch that up with a Molotow chrome pen.
Several minutes later.
And this is what we started with. A Johnny Lightning Nucleon. And folks, this is a very bizarre car, but it is one of the Johnny Lightning collection from the original Topper series. And that's why I wanted to restore this car. Now, these cars are out there. They're still fairly reasonably priced. So if you get on the bandwagon now and start building up this collection, you'll have all these cars that you can restore. Now, parts are super, super hard to find, okay? So you're going to have donor cars, etc. So please be aware of that when you're going to restore these cars and rebuild these cars. If there's parts missing, you're going to have to find others. But this car needed a paint job. It needed to be cleaned up and straightened out. And we also needed to polish up the engine and the windshield, etc. But it was fun. And here's what we got to. Look at how cool this turned out. This was a lot of fun. It really was. And this futuristic looking car, like I said, folks, it's really, really weird. But it is a die-cast car nonetheless, and something that we need to preserve for our die-cast history. The beautiful ice blue Spectre Flame paint from the Redline shop. The tires we touched up with a Molotow chrome pen. Now again, in my comments block, there is a link to my Amazon store, and you can find these Molotow chrome pens in my Amazon store. There's also all different kinds of things in there, supplies for you to do your zinc plating, different types of finishing products for the cars, airbrushes, paints, etc. Please check out my Amazon store. It's just a good place for you to get all the hard to find stuff, and a small, super small portion of what is sold goes to me. The rest of it goes to the people that are actually selling it on Amazon. So please check out my Amazon store, and if you're looking for something, let me know. I'll help you find it. Fantastic car. Now I've got a Patreon page, and all these folks help me during the months where they make a small donation to me, and all this money goes to help me buy my supplies so I can keep this YouTube channel going for you. So please be a member of the Diecast Graveyard team. There's a link in the comments section on how to join and how to become a member of the Diecast Graveyard Patreon team. So I sure could use your help, and it will help keep these videos going for you. Thank you so much for all your time. This is Paul with Diecast Graveyard. Johnny Lightning Nucleon. Man, what a wild car. But it was a lot of fun restoring it for you. Folks, have a great day out there, and stay tuned because we got more videos coming. Cheers.